I can tell you three things. Number one, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself to your core. Believe that you know that you can do the job, right? Number two,
welcome to a new episode of the Dev Device Podcast. And today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Jonathan. Welcome to the show, Jonathan.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, you're in New York, right?
New Jersey, but very, very close to Manhattan.
Okay,
yes.
Close. I got the first part right. Nice, yeah. Yeah, we meet on LinkedIn and I saw you're doing quite some amazing stuff regarding AI and not just you're teaching AI and you're actually applying AI in your business. So I'm very curious to hear what it is you're doing today.
Yeah, today has been an amazing day. If we just want to talk about today alone, I had a great meeting with an educational company down in Florida that is interested in both utilizing AI to help them write responses to grants, as well as build curriculum for the students to understand how to utilize AI. And then right before I came on here, a friend of mine asked me to design a logo of a high five. And in 20 minutes, I created a brilliant logo. And I have a background in graphic design, but still in AI, I was able to just sit on my couch and create an amazing logo. So every day is amazing. Today was even also is just as amazing.
A quick note from our sponsor. AMZ Scout is a complete tool set to help you start and grow your Amazon business. To find profitable, low competition products, learn how to sell with private label, arbitrage, dropshipping, and wholesale, and also discover popular product keywords and verified suppliers. Please check out the link in the description. Yeah, and now today we're even having a podcast. So, I mean, that's as good as it gets. But when I said today, I actually really wanted to refer to like your business. I mean, what your business, please tell us more about the business, what it's called and what is the core of your service. I mean, we already got a glimpse just now, but it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's Halyard Consulting, right?
Yes, so I run two companies. I run Halyard Consulting, which is AI implementation for businesses. I generally focus on small businesses, startup and businesses that have under 50 employees. And then I own Trigonal Gallery, which started off as a physical art gallery and then during COVID had to shut down. And we've now pivoted that company to be an e-commerce AI generated product retail company. So very exciting stuff. And then in 2024, I'm launching a new company called Trigonal Foundation, which is a nonprofit to teach disadvantaged youth and incarcerated individuals about AI.
Oh boy, you really
a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, you earned your entrepreneurial badge, that's for sure. So you're doing amazing stuff, and you're also combining art and artificial intelligence, which I always admire. I mean, I have a graphic design background as well, and I can see in your like physical background there is some artwork even, and you managed to transform your gallery into an e-commerce store, which I find amazing. And I'm sure you're also applying some kind of AI to this, to the artwork that you're selling online, right?
All of the artwork is AI generated. And I too have a background in graphic design. My undergraduate degree is in graphic design and photography. I have a master's of science in computer science, and then I have an MBA in entrepreneurial studies, which has allowed me to grow my entrepreneurial business.
Wow, amazing. So this AI consulting. So if you would give us a gist, like what are the core things that you can help with? Like I said, like a medium-sized company today. What is your approach, and what are the areas you focus on? What are the problems you're solving right now with your AI competence?
Yeah, so the first thing that we do when we're onboarding a client is we ask them to take the Halyard AI Readiness Survey, which is available
Mm,
on halyard.consulting. And from that, we're able to understand what their understanding is of AI, what their ability to work with AI is, and what their needs are, right? Because a
mm,
lot, we know when I sit across, and I just did this morning, when I sit across from people and I explain to them that I can respond to a grant by, you providing me the information, and then it creates very, very simply the answers to the responses. And I can do that in a day when they would be hiring a grant writer that would take weeks for them to respond to a
oh,
grant.
wow.
It blows them away, and they get very, very nervous. Some get very nervous and they wonder, like, how can this magic be happening? But all magic is really just science that hasn't been explained. And that's really what
Mm,
AI is. And, I use tools within AI to allow me to narrow the focus. And I was explaining to somebody this just the other day. Imagine that you had all the information that was in the Library of Congress, which is all literally every book. My old book that I wrote in the 90s is in the Library of Congress, which is pretty exciting. I have a new book coming out at the end in the middle of this year that hopefully will also be included in the Library of Congress. But the idea, AI has this huge brain. And what you actually, as me as the prompt engineer, what I have to do is control that brain and say, I don't need information on astrophysics and NASA and all of these things that AI understands. What I need is the answers to very, very specific questions that I'm providing you. So being able to write the prompts correctly and interact with the AI appropriately, and also providing it the information so that it can give a good response, allows it to be narrow and focused. And that's where the best results really are.
mm. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's exactly as you, yeah, that's a very nice description of what it is and what it does, right? This huge brain that has all this information, but you just have to, you need to know how to talk to it to get the results that you're looking for, right?
Yeah, and you have to move the client beyond what they're seeing on the news every day, which is a ton of
Mm.
people are going to lose their jobs, and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
AI is
All the
going to
drama.
ruin the future and things like that. And you have to kind of ease them into the ability that I have to control the information in AI and get the right information out.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm sure that your services can make a huge difference, as you just said, to cut down this time from weeks to a day to respond to a grant or do other like text processing things. Uh, and you created a logo earlier today, so yeah, that's all amazing. And so yeah, the one of the main topics of this podcast is your life story. I mean, where you are today is pretty exciting, but I'm sure it's even more exciting to hear how did you get there? What was happening with 10-year-old Jonathan? What?
Yeah. That's a
What?
great question. I've watched your podcast before, so I knew this question was
You
coming
saw
up.
it
And
coming.
originally I was going to tell the story of in high school when I started to screen print t-shirts and got
What?
my artistic expression through that. And then I thought to myself, well, that wasn't really me at 10. What was me at 10? And then I remembered that back when I was 10, which was like in middle school, middle school instead of high school. We had an on on school premise kind of a garage sale, and a kid had come in and he had I don't we're the same age, so the big giant Star Wars comic book, right? The one that was oversized, and it was very, very big, and he was selling that. And now I was a comic collector, and I knew that if I could get that from him at a cheap price, that would be worth a lot of money. And I'm not somebody who is going to give something back after we negotiated. And this is a 10. And what happened was, I guess, like, everybody saw that I got very excited about buying this piece, and they like asked me why was I so excited, and I said, well, the value of what I bought was so much more than what he was selling it for. And then the teacher got involved, and she had to, like, calm the kid down and, like, look, this is a negotiation. This is, 10 years old. You wanted to
Mm.
sell this at a price, and I bought it at that price, even though it's worth 4 times as much. And I have that still in my house, that great Star Wars comic book.
Oh, wow. So you didn't capitalize on your on your good deal. You just kept it.
Negotiation is always very critical.
Okay. So age 10, you already knew how to, first of all, to see the value of
Yep.
this thing and then to negotiate and to make the deal happen. I guess that's quite sophisticated for a 10-year-old, don't you think?
Yes. Looking back at it now.
Yeah. And then, so how was your journey from there, from this part of your life to, I guess you somehow went to study somewhere. You collected a few degrees, I hear.
Yeah, so it's not all roses, right? It's not, it's not, there are many bumps in the road along the
Yeah.
way. But yes, when you look at my entrepreneurial career, starting from that Star Wars, going to selling t-shirts in high schools, using ink pressed ink, right, on t-shirts. I then high school wasn't really easy for me, right? I wasn't
Mm.
a test taker, which is critically important in America. If I know that, like, in France, it's more of a discussion, and it's a different kind of, but in America, it's multiple choice. And if you're not good at multiple choice, you're not a good student. And so
Mm.
I kind of, a B- student, and I went to a college that I didn't do well in and dropped out, and then did an associate's degree, which is a 2-year college. And then from there, then I went on to get my my graphic design degree at Ringling College of Art and Design down in Sarasota, Florida. And at that time, again, now you have to understand, like, I always have my eye on the future, right?
Mm.
So when I graduated in 93, well, if you think back to 93, that was right when the Apple Macintosh came out, right?
Yep.
And there was this amazing transfer of process in the college at the time for graphic design students to graduate. I was in the first class to graduate, having worked on Macintoshes. The year before me, they didn't touch the computer. So when I went out for employment, I was way ahead of everybody. So I got
Mm.
myself a nice little job back home, graphic design on a computer. And of course, looking back at it, what I was able to do in 93 compared to what we can do now is radically, it's like
Oh yeah.
stone cave, caveman, making the wheel, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, but that kind of led to I then got into the .coms, and the .coms, managing e-commerce systems during the .coms. And again, this was, if I say to you web crawler, do you remember web crawler? Do you remember Internet Explorer and Netscape? This is what we were working on. There
Oh
was
yeah.
no
Yeah. Yeah.
Google. There was nothing like that. So again, ahead of the curve, and being able to see that this was very empowering as an entrepreneur. And so once the .coms collapsed, unfortunately, I went and got my master's of science degree in computer science. And that then opened up a whole new area. Now, it's funny because here we are back again to an area where in AI, if, knowing programming, to be able to move that one step further. But gosh, I'll tell you something. I am 53 years old, and I am not writing any more code. I am done. I did it in the .coms, and I did it for 10 years after that, and I am just done. So I'm
Mm.
easily hiring all of that out. Not that it even needs to be done that way, because I can talk to the AI system and say, I need to create this bot using JSON or whatever code it needs. Can you help me write this? The other day, the survey wasn't working correctly. So I put the code in and I said, can you analyze this for me? And it was able to come back and it said, well, it may fail on certain browsers. So why don't I rewrite it for you with these errors that can then correct it? And I was like, brilliant. That's it. I'm done. Fantastic.
Go ahead.
So from there, really, I moved myself, because of the dot-com crash, I then moved myself to a more corporate situation and then built out their e-commerce systems. Here's an interesting story. So I was hired simply because the larger corporation had purchased a smaller company, a subsidiary, and in that company, there was an e-commerce system, and they didn't understand how to run it at all. And I got in, and within a week, I was able to fix the code, and they were finally getting sales. But then they sent me out to Seattle, where the company originated from, and I met the guy who was running it on his systems over there. And I spent the day with him. And I thought it was so strange that every once in a while he would run to the back office. And I finally said to him at the end of the day, what are you doing? You have to tell me what you're doing in the back office. And he goes, well, we're not really processing the sales through e-commerce. And I said, what? This is before I had fixed everything. This was the conversation that I had. I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm making it look like it's processing through the e-commerce, but I'm ringing up the sales in the front of the store. And I said, you're fired. And I said, and I went back and I got into the code and I fixed it. And then we went from zero, really, truly zero sales. He was claiming that there were thousands of dollars of sales, to over $40,000 in sales within a 3-month period, and then grew it from there. So after that, I can only stay in one corporation for so long, right? There's only so much people are going to tolerate with a know-it-all, right? So I lasted there for about 5 years, and that's when I built Halyard Consulting. And from Halyard Consulting, which originated as an SEO website design, which I always really disliked because, and I was just telling somebody this the other day, for whatever I was going to charge, there was somebody in another country that was going to undercut me. And I just wasn't happy with that. But now, having transformed this into an AI related business, it's really my connection with the client. It's not about, am I going to get you ranked on page 1? Because truthfully, Google doesn't matter. Maybe I'm ahead of the curve, and I am utilizing ChatGPT and AI systems more than everybody else is, but I haven't gone to Google in 4 months. Ooh. I haven't asked Google anything in months.
Seriously?
So
who do you ask
this
these
is
days?
the trend. I can get so much more information. I can get exact detailed information of the questions that I'm asking. In Google, I put a question in, it's going to send me to a website that I have to read whether or not the information's right. Exactly. If everybody is doing SEO and trying to get in the front pages, they're not even necessarily relevant for the questions that I'm asking. So AI systems are going to defeat Google. I'm claiming it here now. I'm sure, listen, they have plenty of money. They'll pivot to something else. But that's the future. And then from there, really, the gallery and everything like that and what I'm doing with the foundation.
Fantastic. Oh, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, once you experienced how AI can generate like a real response to your question, like browsing Google becomes obsolete.
Yes.
Because nobody wants to deal with all these websites and figure out if they're actually a good fit or not, and if they know what they're talking at all.
Perfect example. Again, today was an amazing day. One of the other things that I did today is, so I have side projects, right? So I have a vested interest in a construction company, and I have a vested interest in a cannabis company. And I was talking to an investor, and the investor said, send a pitch deck. And I I'm kind of the connector, right? And I said to the company, I said, "Do you have a pitch deck ready to go?" And they said yes. And then they sent it to me. My name wasn't on it at all. And I said to ChatGPT, "Should I send this without my name anywhere on it?" And it came back and says, "That is not to your advantage, because who are you that you're sending this pitch deck with your name that's not on it? I'm not the contact. I wasn't listed as an employee." So I called up the company and I said, "Listen, I'd love to send this, but we have to make a couple of changes." We made 2 changes. It's going off tomorrow. That's it. But I would be second guessing myself whether or not I should have sent that pitch deck without my name on it. And
Yeah.
ChatGPT very easily helped me answer that question.
There
I
you
couldn't have gotten
go.
that through Google.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been very tough. Yeah. So for our listeners, what would be your like number one AI tool and method, problem solving thing that helps you every day? Would it be like ChatGPT, like what you said just now, or what is it? If you had to pick one of all the tools that you have right now, what would it be?
It's definitely ChatGPT, but you have to understand how to create personas, right? So when I'm working on the grants, it's a grant writer persona. I've created a custom instruction persona with specific instructions telling it, "Hey, you're not ChatGPT, you're a grant writer. And here's how you behave as a grant writer. These are the things that you know. These are the things that you can search for. These are the things that you're going to produce." And that is critical, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. It could be, I have a business development. So when I'm on LinkedIn, I'll tell you, I have a great funnel, right? You're a marketing guy, so you understand
Yeah.
funnels. And you understand because we talked on LinkedIn. So every single day, LinkedIn, I'm giving really gold information out here, right? So every day, LinkedIn says to you, this person is having a birthday, this person's having an anniversary. Now, before I would just ignore all that, right? Now I say happy birthday, happy anniversary. If somebody responds, I then go into LinkedIn and I look at their profile and I open up my biz dev, I open up a new chat, I put in their information from the LinkedIn profile. I go to the website of the company that they work for. I put that information in and I say to ChatGPT, oh, and of course, and understand that the custom instruction has my business plan for Halyard Consulting, has my business plan for Trigonal Gallery, has all of the data about who I am, my resume, all of that. So I put in all this information about that person that responded to my hello, congratulations, happy anniversary,
Mm.
and the company that they work for, and I simply say to ChatGPT, as my business development agent, how can I help this person? And it comes
Oh,
back and it says, this person would do great with you with Halyard, or this person would be great with Trigonal, or this person is an investor and would be great with iBudget. And with that, it writes a response email that I then put in LinkedIn. And of course, I always say to it, add in that I want them to take the AI readiness survey on Halyard.consulting, regardless of whether it's Trigonal or whether it's iBudget or whether it's Halyard or whether
mm.
it's J. Peterson, which is the construction company. And that then allows me to have 2 conversations. The conversation about what I can do for them for Trigonal and what I can do for them for Halyard. So it's a
Mm.
real win-win. And then, of course, bringing them down that funnel into the AI readiness survey, I'm then able to say back to them, I provide them with a report. And it says, it talks about their company, talks about what they could be doing in AI. And then, of course, that really helps in closing the deal.
Mm. Fantastic. Yeah, that was definitely a golden nugget for our listeners. Thank you so much for sharing this. I mean, my thought would be, how could we take this one step further where like there was an AI bot who would kind of do all this without you being involved? I mean, could you automate the entire process? Could your
I'm sure I could, but I want
yeah,
some control, right? I
yeah,
don't want
yeah, yeah,
C3PO, out there doing my business for me. I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
be
yeah,
able
yeah.
to, and
Mm.
also it has to sound a little human, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll write an email very, very, it's a great email, but it's not personal, right?
Mm.
And so I say to it, make this simpler, make this friendly. And it comes back and it rewrites it in a way. And I have to do some editing, but if it was automatic and I didn't have that control, then people in my LinkedIn would be getting, I don't want to do a sales pitch. I'm not pitching you on sales, right? I want this to be, hey, you're in my LinkedIn, you're a connection to me. I have 5,000 connections. Tell me why are we connecting? If I'm interested in what you're doing, let's talk about it. If you're interested in what I'm doing, let's talk about it. But that's what LinkedIn is for. A lot of people outside of the United States don't really understand how critical LinkedIn is, right? It's very, very powerful.
Yeah, that's why we are talking today, because we met on LinkedIn, man. Yeah, there we go. Fantastic. Dude, that was amazing. And yeah, we're doing a lot of similar things. I would really love to learn more about your, the depth of your AI strategies. But yeah, this is not the podcast for that. Maybe we can do it another time.
Absolutely.
Well, today I would like to hear as a closing part, what are your nuggets of wisdom that you would share with other people who start their entrepreneurial journey, or with 10-year-old Jonathan for that matter? So, you have learned a lot. So if you had, to put out 2-3 things to share with someone who is struggling to get started in his entrepreneurial journey, what would that be?
I can tell you 3 things. Number 1, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself to your core. Believe that that you can do the job, right? Number 2, make sure that you are working with your local surroundings, networking, right? You need to connect. I go to networking events all the time, despite the rain and the cold. I go out there and I meet people because people are interested in what I do, which is a very positive reinforcement, right? I went to an event the other day and everybody was talking about what they did and they were standing up and I said, oh, I do AI. And then for the rest of the day, everybody wanted to talk about AI, right? And the third most critical thing is, and especially in the United States, understand that there's money out there. If you're struggling to get your business off the ground, I would say to you, if you live in a city, if you live in a state, particularly a blue state, that there is money out there. I can't stress this enough. There are grants for, regardless of whether you're a nonprofit, there are grants for you. There are projects that you can work on within your city, right? So anytime that I live in a city right outside of Manhattan, and there are meetings for entrepreneurs and small businesses to work with that city. They have a budget specifically to work with local entrepreneurs, and it's critical that you have to work with them. You have to make those connections.
Oh yeah,
those are my 3, definitely.
These are very good 3, man, and I think a young entrepreneur should definitely look into these and maybe even talk to you or connect with you. We definitely want to leave your contact details below this video, below this podcast. So when somebody would like to reach out to you and maybe learn more about their AI readiness, there will be a link for that, and maybe even your LinkedIn profile. And at this point, I would just like to thank you so much for joining this podcast and your insights. I also would like to thank our listeners to hanging in with us, and I hope you learned a lot. So we stay in touch, Jonathan, and thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.